Liam Ellis.
What's up guys, and welcome to this special segment on the Pioneers channel. My name's Liam Ellis. I'm a 15 years strong parkour and movement specialist, and the Pioneer has asked me to show you how to start parkour from the comfort of your very own home. How we can take you from nothing, complete beginner, to building up enough confidence in a few different techniques that you can eventually take yourself outside and begin moving out there. So why would you want to start parkour from home? Well, it's important to understand that parkour is one of the best tools that we have in our movement arsenal to build up a lot of the beautiful things that Adam talks about on this channel. Things like strength, proprioception, movement patterns, body control, brain and body longevity and awareness. Not to mention it's one of the best tools to help you overcome that sense of fear and to continue the childlike spark that you have for play and creativity. So why start from home? I get it, when you go outside, there's lots of regular people walking around. They may look at you funny, you may feel self-conscious. You're moving in a slightly different way to what people are used to, and that's gonna attract attention. And when you don't know what you're doing, that can often feel overwhelming and very scary and kind of put you off trying something that might be really, really good for you. So what I've done in this video is given you some pro tips on breaking down some of the more simple movements so that we can get your body ready, we can get you ready and more confident and ready to take your first steps into the first session that you take outside. So before you get started trying any of these tips, I want you to make sure that you do a fully comprehensive warm-up, make sure that you get your blood flowing, move through some of the movement patterns that are going to get your joints loose. Some of these things can include like press-ups or squats or just a few crawls on the floor, some knees over toes, lunges, things like this, just to prepare your body for a little bit of impact and to just get it moving and get it ready. Also, being as we're doing this session indoors, make sure that you clear your space, make sure that you've got any sharp corners that you can out of the way or that you're at least aware of them. And if you are in your parents' home, make sure you get permission before you jump all over their furniture. And if you're an adult with your own home, try and be a little less protective over your own furniture. So the first technique we're going to cover is a precision jump. And as the name suggests, it's essentially just a jump with a very precise landing, usually on a thin rail or a wall, or just being able to basically place your feet wherever you decide to from a mid-air jump. So to get started with our precision jump, what we want to do is lay out a specific distance that looks reasonable on the floor. Now we can use something like a tea towel or a rug edge, or if you've got any kind of tape that you're allowed to stick down on your floor, you could use that. You could use pillows, essentially just anything that you can lay down and make an edge on the floor. Eventually we'll be able to start making that edge bigger. You might be able to go to some stairs, or you might have like a low coffee table that is sturdy enough for you to use. But for now, while we're working on that exact foot placement, just use something like a tea towel or maybe a rug. There's three crucial elements that we have to discuss when we're talking about the precision jump. There's the takeoff, the mid-air position, and the landing. So a proper takeoff is crucial because you need to be able to lift yourself into the air and set yourself up to gain the most distance and height that you can possibly gain from your jump. So the way we do this, we take a little bend in our knees. We don't lean forwards with our pelvis forward. We tilt backwards with our pelvis back, and then we sort of sit down as if we're going to sit into a chair. Then we swing our arms from behind us, launch yourselves into the air, and then we take off. If you've not tried this before, it can take a few tries to get your body to move in a way that it feels like it's all moving together. If it feels a little floppy to begin with, don't worry, that's perfectly natural. But what you want to gain is trying to feel this emphasis on all of your body moving at the same time, and this will help you get the best takeoff for your jump. The position that you have in the air is quite important as well. A lot of people will tend to keep their legs a bit too straight, let their lower body go a bit floppy, but what you want to do is tuck your legs up, not exaggerated, but tuck your legs up as high as you can, bring them into you, making this small shape, and then you're going to extend your legs out into the position where you're ready for your landing. The reason we do this is that it helps bring our whole body with us, we're more efficient in the air, and it helps us decide where we want to put our feet when we go for our precision landing. The landing, which could be considered the most important part of the move, has to be executed with as much precision as possible. The idea is to land on the balls of your feet, to bend your knees and compress and absorb the impact, and to land as softly as you possibly can. You don't want to be landing in the archway of your feet. That can be very painful and it's not very good on your body. And you don't want to be landing with straight, stiff legs. You want to try and absorb as much of that impact as humanly possible. It also gives us a lot more accuracy because we get lots of repetitions of landing on that same balls of the feet, and then you know you can place your feet exactly where you'd like to place them.
Hey there guys, I'm back, and good news, I'm here to talk to you about today's sponsor, which today is NordVPN. So NordVPN is a VPN. That means it's a virtual private network, which basically means it's a service that protects your internet connection. It does this by allowing you to route your traffic via a server located elsewhere. So instead of looking up the web page that you want directly, you instead instruct the server, a computer somewhere else, to do it, and then it relays that information back to you. That means that if anyone snoops on what you're doing, all they're going to see is that you connected to that server. Your actual browsing behavior remains hidden, even from your ISP. It also means that you can actually spoof your location. In other words, you can access region-locked content by using a server located in another country. You can watch shows that otherwise wouldn't be available to you. And it comes with a whole host of other features designed to make your experience better, including double VPN, which essentially gives you double encryption, so you can be double assured. Try it out yourself. Go to nordvpn.com/thebioneer and you'll get a big discount on a 2-year plan. Thanks once again to NordVPN for sponsoring this video, and a big thanks to Liam, who I think is doing a fantastic job hosting his first video here on The Bioneer. Bye for now.
Once you've mastered your precision jump, the next thing that we can do is move on to a plyometric jump. Essentially what this means is that you're going to do one jump, gather and take your momentum, rebound off the floor, and head straight into a second jump. This can help you cover multiple distances. There could be 3 walls in a row that you want to bounce across, 3 rails in a row that you want to bounce across. It can be used in and out of lots of different movements, and it's a very essential part to parkour. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay out 3 pillows on the floor. You're going to have a takeoff pillow, a rebound pillow, and a landing pillow, also that we can measure out these nice distances on the floor. What you want to do is take off just as you would with your precision jump, mid-air position as it was, landing position coming in as normal with a nice straight leg, but the difference with the landing is that you're going to try to make the takeoff position again once you've landed. So you're going to come in with your arms behind you, get them ready for that second swing, lean forward with your chest up, and then take off again, ready for your second precision. So we're essentially just trying to do one precision jump into another precision jump, but take out as much of that time in the middle and gather as much momentum as possible in the middle to launch us into that second jump. Once you've got the hang of doing this with some pillows and you've got the distances fairly decent, you can take away that end pillow and start making it into another precision jump. So you could either jump up to your sofa, you could jump onto like a small coffee table ledge, or you could just, as we said before, land on the edge of a rug and just work on getting that foot placement nice and precise. So next up, another branch of jumping is we're going to try a stride. So stride jump is essentially the same as a plyo, but you're going to go off one leg. You're going to take off as you normally would from your precision jump, and then you're going to land on one leg, swing that middle leg through and land on the other side. What we're going to do with our stride jump is essentially have the same setup as our plyometric jump, but this time we're going to land on one leg in the middle, swing our other leg to allow us to carry that momentum through and land the other side. Important things for this is to keep your chest up but over your leg. Try not to put too much pressure on your knee. Take it easy to start with and just use small distances, and eventually just build it up so that you can get that maximum distance and that big swing. Make sure you try it on both legs so you don't develop any imbalances and you teach both sides how to do what you're learning to do. As with all the other variations, try to challenge yourself around the house. Try and find different places that you can use to stride up into and work on those exact precise landing positions. So obviously it's super important to just mix things up, try different directions, try different placements of all the pillows, and just use what you have around the house. I'm making use of random, pieces I have in my living room, and yeah, just having fun with it, Really, you don't have to go in a linear pattern, you don't have to do it all, in a row. Just mix it up and have a good time. Vaulting is something that's a little bit difficult to tackle when it comes to indoor parkour training, but there is some things that we can do. Essentially what we can work on is a Kong vault. Now this is the vault where you bring your legs in between your hands and you go straight through. The hard part is obviously that we probably don't have many things around the house that we could vault over. What we can do is build up the basic muscle groups and movement patterns to help us tackle it when we do go outside. So what you want to start by doing is essentially just putting your hands flat on the floor, and you're going to keep your feet together and bounce yourself up into a kind of tucked bunny hop position. Rebound off the floor and just practice doing these bunny hop motions so that we can get the hang of what it feels like to put weight on our hands with our feet together behind us. The next progression is to do a diving bunny hop. So what we're going to do is start in a squat position, feet together, dive out onto our hands, keeping our feet together, keeping our body as long as possible, then landing on our hands, and then our feet should follow. Originally, you will want to just put your hands down and then let your feet follow. And then as you progress further and further, you'll be able to take your hands out of the way and let your feet just replace your hands. If you imagine that you're doing this to a wall, you could do it to the edge of the rug like we've been practicing, dive onto your hands, move the hands out of the way, land in the tucked position. Something I forgot to mention, make sure you warm up your wrists for this exercise. It's quite a lot of pressure on them, so a bit of this, get the blood flowing. A little bit of rocks, a few rocks backwards and forwards, keeping your arms locked out, side to side, backwards. That should do the trick. Finally, if you do have stairs, then we can use some stairs to progress this movement even further. Picking a reasonable set or amount of stairs for you to start with, dive up onto your hands, tuck your feet in between your hands, and then land feet together on the stairs. Do make sure that you've got the previous section down before you try this on the stairs, because you do need to be able to get your hands out of the way to allow for your feet to come up and in between. Another technique that we can work on when we're indoors is obviously a parkour roll. This is used to disperse the momentum and the impact from when you're jumping off somewhere high. Maybe you take a fall, or maybe you're just trying to jump a distance and you need to absorb some more impact. Coming down into a squat position, you're going to put your hands into a diamond shape, fingers together, hands go flat on the floor. We're going to tuck our head in and aim to roll across from shoulder to the opposite side hip, making sure to disperse as much of the energy as possible by keeping your back aligned on the floor. We don't want to get a bumpy ride. We don't want to go boom, boom, boom as we're rolling across the floor. The idea is to be nice and smooth. And then we're going to tuck our legs and try and stand up out the other side. This is actually a fairly complicated thing to do and will take a lot of practice. Ideally, if you can do it on a rug, because a lot of people will find it quite difficult to roll smoothly along their back without bumping along. Just remember that what you're trying to do is guide yourself with your hands, tuck your head in slowly, then push yourself over. You can progress this over time just by starting with a very small roll where you just open out onto a flat back. Then you can experiment with keeping yourself tucked up, making sure that you guide yourself in. You can start from a standing position, squat down and go straight into a roll. And you can also jump up, land and then roll. You can mix up some of these variations by doing your precision jump like you did before, and then landing and then going into your roll. And before you know it, you've got a few combinations of things that you can practice, in a row. You could even do a Kong on the floor, jump into the air and then land and roll, and all of a sudden you're working a few of these techniques at the same time. Plus your creative mind gets switched on because you're thinking of different ways that you can use your space and different moves that you can start to connect together, and things start to become a lot more fun. With all these moves, if you're lucky enough to have a staircase, the staircase is going to be your friend because you've got so many different levels and different places that you can land on the way up the stairs. You can either practice doing one precision jump up the stairs, one precision jump down the stairs, one precision jump up the stairs and then plyo into your next one, or you can plyo down the stairs. Just make sure that you're super careful. Obviously the stairs can be quite dangerous and they're very narrow within a lot of households, so just make sure that you're not overly doing it and you've got those landing positions absolutely solid before you decide to push it a little bit further. There's really a bunch of different combinations that you can explore here, and don't be limited by the ones that I've suggested. Just push yourself as much as you can, get the hang of that landing position. That's really the main focus of a lot of all these things, because if you can land somewhere and trust yourself to land in the position that you want to, then you can take your jump anywhere. So if you can bring a piece of wood inside, then this is a really, really good way to bridge the gap between indoors and outdoors. Obviously this is rock solid, it's very hard versus a pillow. It's not going to give you much feedback. You're not going to really be able to tell if your landings are good or not. If you're landing on something like this, especially barefoot, I would recommend trainers first, but then barefoot. You're really going to get some proper feedback and you'll find out whether or not you are landing properly. So there you go, a few ways to get started with parkour at home. Go and try some of these tips out now. Get a big old smile on your face, forget you're an adult and just enjoy your body. I promise this is going to open up a whole new wealth of movement styles for you, excite your brain and get you ready for some great exercise. Enjoy.